Hello, the internet. Hello, the world. Hello, YouTube. Hello. Who does that? Hello. Oh, freaking Lemony Snicket. Series of unfortunate events. Speaking of, talking about my last couple months here. Excuse me while I drop this down here a little bit. I'm thinking about it might be finally time to upgrade my mics. I have DJI mics, the first release of them, and I love them, and I've loved them. I've wanted the second ones for forever, but they're like 350. I think maybe they're 350, but they're a little pricey, especially when these ones were still working fine. But the battery for the receiver and the receiver and this thing are both not working. Or not holding the charge for as long. Like they'll probably do this live stream and then that's it. So I think it might be time to finally upgrade, but they have a new option. So it's not just these ones. There's these ones that are like literally, see this magnet right here? They're literally like that size and they're like $150. And there's like a little receiver. I thought about getting those. They're not as fancy as these ones, but they kind of get the job done, and it might be something worth getting as an investment in this live stream, because I do genuinely enjoy doing this live stream with all of you and these Monday night live streams, and I hope to get back to them. I don't know if they'll always be on Monday, but I promise to keep it going. I feel like my thing might have slipped a little bit. Don't mind me. OCD's coming in. I was like, it's cutting off it's a prime lens. This is a 28 lens, so it was like, I feel like it was too cutting off my hair. It's my best feature. Jay, good to see you in here. Sorry, the last couple times I've been in Massachusetts, I haven't been able to hang out. I got to do the next time I go up, hopefully like maybe October, September, I'm going to do one of those meets like I did before. And because I had a lot of fun doing that. And really when, my mouth. Sorry. I feel like when my anxiety acts up, I get way more like OCD. And so like the perfectionist side of me comes out and everyone's like, it doesn't matter. And I'm like, it matters to me. So what's up, everybody? How's everyone been doing? I have been away for some time in the midst of what were the busiest times. I should have put a button down on this. Is driving me crazy. It like keeps folding my shirt. And what was the midst of the busiest work times of probably my life ever. I was out at Disneyland for the 70th. That was a really cool event. Love to be out at Disneyland. I got back at super late on that Saturday night, I think it was, and then so basically I had Sunday, and then I had a media event that started on Monday for the opening of Epic Universe. It was supposed to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Epic Universe opened to the public on Thursday. Well, that Monday when I got started at the media event, it was 8:30 p.m. We were on a little bit of a break, and I got a voicemail from my sister, and I could see in the voicemail it said like, hey, can you call me? It's about Dad. And so this one sister had called me once or twice before, and I was just like, oh, it ends up sometimes being like a conversation. I just didn't want to talk to anybody on the phone, basically. So I called my mom, and I was like, can you call Jackie and find out what this is about? And she called, and then she called me right back, and she was like, where are you? And I was like, what happened? And she's like, your dad's in the hospital. He had a heart attack. And she's like, how much longer are you going to be there? And I was like, it's 30 minutes left of this thing. But I told her I was, and I was like, I can, she's like, just when you get to the hotel, call me back. And I was like, Mom, I need you to tell me right now, is he dead or alive? And there was this like really long pause. And my parents aren't married, just so you know. And she was like, he's alive. She lied to me. And I was like, she's like, but call me when you get to the hotel room. And that's when I was like, I told the incredible team members that were there, I was like, I need to leave right now. I was like, something's going on. And so I got back to the hotel as fast as I could, and I called her the second I was in the room. And I just, when you like feel there's like it's like the force, like you feel this change in the wind. And people always say you can feel it before, and it's like I could feel it right before that phone call. Something was different, and they were like, she was like, and my mom told me that my father had died. He died during his jiu-jitsu class, because of course he did. He was 61 years old. He had a massive heart attack, and he asked somebody a question next to him. He said, "Could you show me that one more time?" And he was dead. He had the, I think it was called, I think they call it like a widowmaker, maybe, I'm not sure. I don't know. There's a conflicting report that maybe they had gotten like a vague pulse back at some point or whatever, but he was dead. And very sad. The last thing we spoke about was Epic Universe and how I was excited about the park opening and these things. And I was like, oh, maybe we could go, and we could go with, his grandkids and so I was like, I don't know what to do. And so basically I was like, I've got to do this event. Like, I've got to finish this. I don't know what else to do. My entire family is in Massachusetts. I mean, the kicker of it is that my dad had just moved to Florida 3 weeks before this had happened, to Panama City Beach, which is 5.5 hour drive from here. And there's no way to get there shorter in flying, because it's like, there's an airport up there, but it's one of the things where there's no direct flights into there. You have to go to Atlanta, wherever you're going, and then you can get there. And so it ends up being longer to take a flight than it does to drive. So it's not like I could get there and to his wife or anything like that. And so I was like, I'm here. That night, obviously, I feel really bad. My brother, who's been having a lot of time, because maybe he's been following me on social media, but my nephew went missing for a couple of days. They did find him. He is in a treatment center, and he's been having some issues that we're trying to do the best we can. And I felt awful for my brother already, because that had been going on for a while. And he went missing right after this. But my brother was having like a good day finally. Like, he was at a Red Sox game in Boston. And I was like, Mom, I will call and tell Mike. And so I had to call him. I was trying to do that thing where I was like, what are you up to? Oh, the Red Sox game. Oh, cool. How much is, what inning is it? Who's winning? And I'm trying to be like, da, 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 da. And telling him was awful. I'm glad that I could remove that burden from my mom or anybody else as well. But, I feel bad for him. I've seen a lot of, spoken a lot more to my siblings and since then. And my brother in particular, I will have to tell him this at some point. But he's grown so much, and he's my older brother. He's a year older than me, but we have some other stuff going on now too. And the way my brother talked about it, and the way my brother talked about my nephew, his son, all these things, it was somebody that was very clear, has learned from the experiences he's had in life, took, I know he's had to do group therapy and things like that, or therapy with his son and things like that. And I really see somebody that had an impact on, and I have been very impressed. I've been impressed by him, like, repeatedly, and in the last 2 months. And, I'll have to tell him that at some point. But, he got up and he spoke at the services, and his speech was like, God, I was a mess. He basically was like, I haven't spoken to my father since he died. And then he was like, but I'd like to take that opportunity to do that now. And everything he said was really heart-wrenching. I don't know why I'm telling you all the nitty-gritty details. I think it's my way of like easing into talking about this. And I'm sorry if I get emotional, because I probably will. But, like I said, my dad had died in this place, and he was kind of isolated. They were brand new to that area, him and his wife, and who I felt awful for, because this was their like retirement home. And, my dad died without a will. They had just bought this house and sold their other house. And so like, I was like worried about her, where I'm like, are you going to be okay? You know, are you going to survive? You know, it just a bunch of those logistics, but then also like just having a really hard time of it. Yeah. And then, my dad was cremated, which I have not known anybody in my life to personally like to have done that. And that's an interesting process too. It's weird because, you know, I don't remember the last time that I saw my dad. I think it was like Christmas 2023. He had left my brother's house on Christmas Eve right before I got there, like 10 minutes before I got there. And I remember being so frustrated about that. But the trip was so short this December because it was literally just like 3 days because I had a wedding to go to in Austin. Oh no, sorry, my camera did a weird thing there. What is happening? Why do I have the touch of death when it comes to technology? I probably shouldn't bring that up while I'm talking about a dead person, but yeah, so I just lost my train of thought too. So anyway, they were there, you know, they're kind of isolated. First person I've known to be, the last time I saw my dad, and I don't think there is a picture, but it's like, I don't have a picture with my father, just me and my dad. And that is a very difficult thing to deal with. So, you know, I remember being so frustrated that he hadn't waited just a couple minutes, because I asked Mike, I was like, did he know that I was here? Didn't he know that I was here? And he's like, yeah, and that's my dad. My dad's an odd duck, you know. I love my dad. One of the best things about my father, and I hope to keep this going through with me in life, and I hope all of you do this too, is that, you know, every time I got off the phone, or every time we left seeing him, he always said, I love you. And I just feel like I'm not good at that, and I want to be better. I mean, I said it back, but it's just one of those things where it's like, I want to be better about the people in my life I don't say it to. It's one of those things where you're like, I want to take this forward, you know, in a positive way. You know, I know there's philosophical differences between me and my father. I mean, I will tell all of you out there who might be struggling with this, you know, that, you know, we live in a very divisive country right now, a very divisive time. And, you know, some people might have voted this way or gone this way, and you believe this thing or that thing or everything like that. And it's hard because I think all of that stuff really does exist to divide us more than anything else, because if we keep shouting at each other and we don't listen to each other, we're never going to move forward anymore. We're only going to keep going backwards. And, you know, and as hard as it is to be the person who has to listen, you know, I kind of wish maybe I'd listened more. It just makes it all seem, a lot of it seem a lot more trivial. A lot of the stuff seem trivial. And I'm not just saying that there aren't fundamental issues in the world going on right now that are leading to life and death and awful for a lot of people. And that's what it's led us to. But it's because that we keep arguing with each other, because I don't think the majority of people want to be evil. I think the majority of people want to be good. You know, and it's really hard to see that, you know, and hold that close and that belief close to you. And but you know, the rest of it is just, I don't know, it just was one of those things. I wish I just shut the fuck up and talked to him a little bit more, you know, and just called a little bit more and wasn't such a stubborn asshole. I just thought I had the benefit of time. Time, man. It is, you know, Lex Luthor in the 1978 Superman movie said it was land, and I think he was wrong. I think it was time. Time is the most precious resource we have, and it seems like the thing we're always robbed of. And so it's kind of like, I feel like for me, I've been doing a lot of things, and I'm sorry, I'm like trying to make myself not cry, which is not something I generally do. It's just so that I can get through this because I'm the only one here. And it's just you watching me cry for 10 minutes at a time. That's not fun. The thing I'm trying to take away from this is I'm trying to try more. I'm trying to. It's like. It's crazy how all these things I've heard about my dad after he left, and I will tell you. So the place where he died. Okay, two things about me, because I think it'll be easier for me to say it about me first before I say it about him. I think you guys know this. Monday night live stream people who are always here, the ones who come occasionally, who come sometimes. Maybe this is the first time. We've been doing this for a while now. These things. And one of the things I always think is really cool about this is how you all have this community, have this, I'm talking and I'm kind of seeing what you're saying on the side here, but I don't see it all the time. And, you're going back and forth with each other. You meet each other. You start getting familiar with each other, and you start to form this little bit of a community. And it's important to me. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is on that. It's important to me because it's important to you. I love creating, I think, community for people, whatever that looks like. And I think because I felt like somebody who maybe sometimes didn't have that. I did have that. I'm very fortunate. I'm a very spoiled little brat when it comes to getting and receiving love and making sure, yes. Did I go to school with holes in my sneakers sometimes? Yes. Was my mother working, did I only see her at like 7 a.m. and didn't see her until like 8 p.m., Monday through Friday? Yes. But it was a village of people that raised me, and I think it was the teachers, I think it was my grandparents, I think it was a little bit of everybody, and I think a lot about the teachers in school and the community that provided to me. The Carver Community Access Television, theater, student government, peer mediation, I did everything, and now as an adult, when I moved to Florida, I felt, after a couple of years, you it's like you meet new people at work, and that's what I loved about Disney, but then sort of, it's always about work, and you're like, I want to expand that, I want to be beyond that, I want to do other stuff. Like I miss, theater, community theater. I miss that sort of stuff. And so I'm realizing, lately, this is this new age avenue that we all have to kind of reach out when some of us are very lonely, to talk to each other, to communicate to each other. And so I'm very fortunate to have you people, strangers, a lot of you, friends, some of you, out there, to be a part of this, and that I can be able to do this with you and for you is an honor. And so I'm realizing in my older life, community is such an important thing to me. It's the reason why I started the Ampliverse with RJ, which was all about helping marginalized people find a voice, find a place. It's not like it's exclusive to marginalized communities. It's just that's where it started, and I wanted to make space without hate. And we had to carve some places out. I want to tell stories that you don't get to hear. All these sort of things, And so that was really important to me. And then the other thing that I think was my parents that sort of made me feel this way, and I get nervous about as I see it, was that when I graduated college, I know it took me longer. I did it when I was 29. I feel like I said I could be like a permanent student because I really like learning new things. It's like with the studio and work. I know every week, I start a couple minutes late, or, people are like, Patreon post show over there, and it's sort of that thing where sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's right afterwards, sometimes it's later. And it's because I'm always trying to better it. I'm always trying to find a better version of something. I'm always trying to better myself. I'm trying to grow myself. I'm trying to make sure I'm kind of always moving a little bit out of the comfort zone, because the comfort zone will expand the further you go. And making sure that I'm always trying to better myself, and that fear that as the older we get, the slower that sort of becomes. I'm like afraid of that. And I remember at one point I kind of even said it out loud, where I was like, I'm worried that I'll become, I feel like my mom has not slowed down. I feel like I prejudged my mother and my father, my stepfather, all these people, because the beauty in this thing of going to this funeral and these services is like seeing these people. And I had some conversations with my mom earlier in the week, and I was there for 7 days, and I heard my mom saying some of the stuff back that I was saying to other people. And I was like, my God, she heard me. She listened, she processed. And sometimes it's just a different type of input system. It's an older computer. I don't mean to say older, whatever. It's a different computer model. You know what I mean? I always think it's the kind where you used to have to write it on a card, and the card went in and it went, and then it spit a thing out. I think that's my mom. I think I process like a car accident. I think I'm somebody where a car flips around on the highway and faces me, and I immediately take that information and process. And then, afterwards I'm like shaking because of the adrenaline and the things, and it's messing me up. That's how I am. And both very different types of input and outputs. And I just was so impressed by that. I will tell you, so I did drive up, to Panama City Beach because the jiu-jitsu people where he died, they wanted to throw him a beach bonfire, because a big beach community up there, and this company comes in and they'll start the bonfire for you and everything. And I made some joke about having a Viking funeral, or my dad had made a joke about that. He didn't want anything. He just wanted flaming arrows shot out over the ocean like a Viking or something. And so these people did this, and I was like, well, I've got to go up, and I got to check on my stepmother, because even if there's fundamental differences there, it's still the right thing to do, and she's still a person, and she's still alone, and is somebody hurting, and I had told my dad I was gonna see his house, and so I went, and I had my friend Genevieve lives here now. She had moved here, and she went with me. That was really nice of her. We drove up, we stayed for 2 nights, and went to this service, and it was nice. And they all kind of spoke about him, and some of them were like, I just met your dad. I didn't know your dad very much, all this stuff. And the first person who came up to me and spoke to me said, your dad is such an instrumental member of our community. It's crazy how we'll go into a room, and it could be a room full of 10 people that never knew each other, but if Bob was in there, he'd walk out and everyone would know each other. And it's just like, your dad was really good about creating community. So I'm like, weird, they say that. The next guy to me said that, I want you to know, the thing that I always admired about your father is he was always trying to better himself, that he was always trying to learn something new or be better at something. And they said the last thing he said was, can you show me that again? Because he was trying to learn something new, and those were his last words. And that was the thing where I was like, I am somewhere where I'm supposed to be, because I never would have spoken to those people otherwise. I never would have gotten to hear that from them. And I was just like, I feel lucky that is the part of him that continues in me. And it's crazy because, if you, on paper, sometimes you're like, these two people couldn't be more different. And this is, I'm not going to try and get political right now, because I feel like this is the whole thing. Everybody wants to make everything political now. everything has become political. And it's hard because my father served in the military for 21 years. He had a lot of awards and recognition that he never spoke about. And we didn't know till he died. And he loved dogs. He loved German Shepherds. He worked with the canine unit in, I think, Wareham for a while. And it's hard because his sister, his two living sisters, both of his parents are dead. His father died when I was like 10. His mom died when I was 20. And they were both young too. Great, right? But anyway, my dad worked, with this canine unit. And so his sister, my Aunt Kathy, who was only 10 years older than me, and I never realized that, set up like a GoFundMe. So in his memory, and a lot of generous people donated to that, we're going to provide vests, or hopefully more than one. They're expensive, but vests to the canines unit so they can be shielded as well, in his memory. And it's hard in this day and age to be like, I know it's a weird thing to be like, could you donate to the police? Like, could you take pity? And that's that part. It just makes me so angry that there are problems, that there are these things that it's like, you guys at this, I'm tiptoeing around it. You know exactly where I stand. It's just so crazy that we've made so much stuff just to be an argument, and instead of like listening to fix things and do stuff, instead it's just like, so that's the thing I'm taking away from this too, is that it's very difficult people think it's very black and white, and it's hard because you'll be somebody drowning in that black and white, and trying to keep those people that you love and help them and educate them. And it takes time, it takes effort, it takes time. And I just don't think I don't think it's worth giving up. And I just feel like, I had a conversation, and I didn't really tell anybody this, with my mother in January after everything. I'm not really on Facebook, and I'd gone on Facebook and I'd seen things, and I told my mom, because I feel like there's an element in the world where you do have to think about yourself. You do have to think about your own peace. You do have to think about your well-being, because we are living in an insane time, and I'm so exhausted by the word unprecedented, but it is. And I don't know what the future is going to look like. And you know what I've decided, I've chosen for myself, is that once a month even, I would love it if it's once a week, but once a month I was like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to go to a gay bar. I want to sink my money back into my community. I want to dance. I want to laugh. And I'm not young. I'm not younger. As young. Well, what if Fritz Anderson said? Well, younger. Ageism, dumb. You know what I mean? Do that shit, because I don't know how much longer you can. And I feel like when you laugh, when you love, when you smile, when you do good for other people, that is when they lose and you win. You win by not becoming that monster. It is so much easier said than done. And, I had said to my mother, I kind of sort of discussed how I was feeling emotionally about the shortcomings, where I thought were shortcomings, of my dad, and sort of that thing where I was like, if this is how they're gonna, I don't want to badmouth anybody. And he wasn't doing this specifically, but there were some people he was lying with, and I feel like they're spewing a little bit of hate. And I was like, I don't like this. You know, I don't want to be associated with this. I don't want to be, you know, I'm worried about this stuff. That was, and I said, if this is how it's going to be, I don't know that there's a place for them in my life anymore. I never said it to him, obviously, and I picked up the phone the last time he called me, which was April. You know, if you follow me on Instagram, I posted his voicemail he left me, and I'm very fortunate because I didn't know there was a voicemail to that day he died. I had just called him back, but I didn't realize he had left a voicemail too, and he basically was like, I saw what you did on YouTube with Epic Universe. You know, he didn't say Epic Universe, he said the park video, and he was like, you're just doing a really good job. You know, I love you. And then I had called him and we had talked about this, and I'm so happy that I picked up that phone and I talked to him. You know, and I wish maybe I had called him more. I don't like to say I wish, but I'm fortunate that my father was somebody, I don't think he held grudges. I don't think he lived with that sort of weight on him. Do I regret speaking what I said out into the world in January? Maybe a little bit, you know. The sentiment was there, but I was like, I think maybe this is my answer where it's like, I can't give up. You know, I can't give up on, I do feel like I want, if nothing else, I hope that when I go, I hope I made the world a little bit better than the one I came into. Right, and that's all I wanted, and I feel like I don't know where I'm like losing my train of thought and stuff, but I don't really have anything. My father's, I do have some of his ashes. I don't really know what to do if I keep those forever, if I'm gonna like sprinkle them into different parts of the ocean. I don't know what to do with it. You know. I have his watch that he's wearing in one of his pictures. It's just like a diver's watch or something like that. So I wore that to his services and the beach and stuff, and I'll keep that with me. But it's really all I have. And then afterwards, I had found this letter. Oh, I just showed my address on YouTube. Great. Well, please don't come and murder me. But this is from January 2021, and it's just a simple, like, quick letter, but I'm telling you, when I like opened it, like seeing his handwriting, it was like very emotional for me. And he just literally says, I came across this savings bond that your step grandmother gave to you when you were about 5 years old. I think it's worth about $85 now. You might want to cash it at your bank. I hope you guys are doing well. I love you, Dad. And it was like seeing the dad written there, and then I love you. It's weird. It wouldn't hit the same way if it was an email. I also see his last name written here because he wrote Clavin, you know, and he wrote my name. So it's like, he has a very unique handwriting type. I might get the I love you tattooed. I'm not sure. I don't want to get the word dad tattooed because I don't want people to think I have children or for people to, an open invitation to start calling me daddy. Not a fan. You can call me captain. We can, but anyway, so, you know, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. You know, I've just been going through it. It's crazy. The 2-month anniversary of his death was on Friday. I thought about doing the live stream then, but I was like, no. But it's just like, it's been a weird process. I'll tell you, it feels like my father because I didn't see the body before it was cremated. And I don't think he would have wanted me to, you know, and so just trying to honor those wishes. And it's like he lives in the phone. So I think I probably have, I had a voicemail I hadn't listened to, and he talks about one of my siblings in it, and so I screen recorded it and sent it to that sibling. So I have all these voicemails because I never deleted them. You know, and I'm hoping hoping it's not all people trying to get my student loans in here. And then I'm going to find another one, an unlistened to one. But I've got a couple of old dad ones in here that I've got one right here from 2022. Dad, unlistened to. Another one on New Year's Eve, and I guarantee that one is him calling to say happy birthday. There's one for 5 seconds. Oh, I must have called him back. I think I called him back in the middle of these. What an idiot. I shouldn't have. Yeah, see, so 12/31/2020. I'm convinced that my father thought there's a whole bunch in here I haven't listened to. But they're all just short enough that I'm like, it's like I got a little bit left. And I feel like crying is cathartic. And the only reason, again, normally I would just let it go. I am holding it back because it's just me. But I think I've been leaning into it when I'm starting to feel sad, when I'm starting to whatever. I like to take, even if it's just a minute, I like to just cry. Because it like does something to my brain, and I feel like it like keeps him close. And it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, I guess. I mean, I knew it was going to be hard, but his birthday, he would have been 62 on August 6th. So I'm thinking about doing something then. Yeah. I like to. I feel like I don't want to compartmentalize it. I want to think about him every day. Probably thinking about him way more than he did while he was alive. But God, I think one of the things I'm going through, and I think this might be a nice exercise for other people. My parents were very young when they had us. My brother and I are basically Irish twins. So they were, they were 20 when they had my brother and 21 when they had me. And, it's funny. I listen to a lot of the music that reminds me of my dad, and then I made a group playlist set up, and everybody could add to it songs they thought of him, and I thought, maybe I made this up, that I associate this song with my dad, and then I see somebody else add it to the playlist. I'm like, no, that is my dad. And there's this Pearl Jam album, 10. It's like the Pearl Jam album. And I was listening to it after he died, specifically the song Black. And I just was like, this is such a sad song. And I was like thinking, and I was like, when I was in that car and my dad was listening to this album, he was probably, I don't know, 30 years old, 30-something years old. And it's just like, was he sad? Was he going through stuff? And there's those things that I feel like I realize now after how human your parents are, because I feel like even when you can say they're as human as they are, I still feel like we are the humans and they live on Mount Olympus. You can be like, well, they're flawed. The gods are flawed. Zeus is flawed. Hercules, all this stuff. And but it is that reality where you're like, they're just a person. They're just a person trying their best, I think, and trying to figure out their life. And that's where I'm like, I think the part that maybe I was worried about is like, I don't know if he was happy. He is happy, I feel like, was happy. My dad would, he'd be in the middle of a sentence and my dad would hang up the phone. I'd be like, all right, I'll talk to you later. Or he'd just get up and walk out of the room and be like, Dad, what are you doing? I'm talking to you. Oh yeah, I'm listening. Oh, you listening? And I feel like that's exactly how he went out of this world. And I worry, and I'll never know. But there's that part of me where I want to be like, I don't know. I'm just worried he thought maybe we didn't need him. I don't know. It was hard. I think my dad, that was somebody that what I've listened to, from what I've learned from everybody talking about, hearing people talk about him and stuff like that, is that, and seeing the stuff he had in his house after he passed is, I think his biggest concern, which again was protecting people. That again, a military man, concealed to carry, whatever, permit to carry, all this stuff. The bows and arrows, he knew how to use knives, all this stuff. And it's like, I guess when he was alive, I thought it had to do with him. And now that he's gone and listening to what everybody said, it had to do with everybody else in the room. It wasn't, I always thought he was being paranoid about keeping himself safe. It was him being paranoid about keeping everybody else safe. And I don't know. It's sort of that, it's weird that he didn't bond with me over Power Rangers more than he did, because it's like knowing that he loved Godzilla stuff so much, and then, I always, in my head, always think I want to, what would the Power Rangers do? Is that the way to be a Power Ranger? And I don't know. Just, you're both thinking about the same thing, just in two different ways, I guess. And I think that's, take that away. It's hard because at the end of the day, they are not here. And I think there's this part of your brain that keeps moving around that, like, when it's not right here in the front, back here, you're not thinking about it, but it still is like, they still exist, I guess, and it's like, they don't exist, but they do exist. I guess that's my brain is having trouble with that part right now. And it's sort of that, like, I still have some of him left right here. And it's the ghost in the machine now. I don't know. It's hard. It's a weird thing. But I think I feel lucky, I've always said this. I was always like, when people are like, "Oh, did you have a good relationship with your dad?" And I'm like, yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't one of those things like in the movies where you're like this or that. And it wasn't like there was animosity toward him or anything like that. I guess I always thought I wanted him to be more invested, and then come to find out he was completely invested the entire time. It was just some push the duck out of the nest, some fly with the duck. And it's that sort of difference, And I guess I just always thought, I don't know. The new Superman movie, if you haven't seen it, I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend seeing it. It was a lot of fun. It's very light-hearted, I feel like, It really, there was a part in the movie where I was like, that's Superman. Like, and I feel like that was a really cool thing to happen. But the thing for me, Superman is a representation of like hope and optimism and really just doing good and being the best that we can. And I think that truly the movie got that really good in there. And there is a scene in the movie. This isn't really, I'm not going to really give you the context. I'm just going to kind of tell you the vague thing that they said. There's a scene in Smallville with his mom and his dad, and he's with the dad outside talking, and the dad, is like, Clark, a spoiler alert, Clark Kent is Superman. He says, parents, you're not here to be your parents. Your parents are here to give you the tools to make your fools of yourselves all on your own. It's something along those lines. And that is like sort of it clicked with me sort of a thing. And needless to say, I was crying quite a bit after that. And basically the credits rolled, and I had like a very visceral, like emotional reaction to it. Like I was like texting my friend where I was like, I have to walk from this movie theater into the parking garage at Disney Springs, and I don't know how I'm going to do that without people seeing me bawling my eyes out. By the time the credits finished rolling, I was finally like, okay. So again, movies. It's the baggage that you bring with you to them. It's really good. It's a really good movie. Anybody that is saying anything about anybody that ever comes out with the word woke or anything like that, I'm always just like, oh my God, somebody just looking to pick fights and whatever and all that stuff. It is a Superman movie. It is a fun movie. It is a good movie. It is colorful. It's bright. I loved it. If this is what the rest of the DCU is going to be like, I am all here for it. In fact, I can't wait to go watch it again. I've sort of been thinking about that a lot. I think it was like I needed to see it at that time. And, I've always really loved, I loved Smallville growing up. Smallville came out, I think it was in like 11th grade. 2001? Yeah, I was in 11th grade when it premiered, and I watched it all the way through the end. I own it. You can't really see it, but the whole series is like up here. And it's all on Hulu now too. I felt like I was always like, I like this story because it examines a lot of the stuff. What does it mean to be the only person like this, or to have a secret like this, or to feel lonely because there's no one else like you on Earth, and all that sort of stuff, but it was also like Clark was always trying to do the best thing, and then there was a little bit of that like Buffy sort of drama, soap opera stuff put into it. But so it was always very like, I love Superman. And when I was a kid, it was actually staying at my dad's house, where his neighbor told me, like, I remember getting the whole story of like Superman and Krypton and Jor-El and all this stuff. And I was just like, wow. And I used to have this like Superman shirt that had like silver S. It was like a purple shirt, and I would wear it under my clothes when I was a little kid. And my mom actually had found a picture of me and my brother, of me wearing that. Actually, I want to see, maybe I can share it. And you guys will see what I look like as a kid. You'd be like, look at that little gay baby. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this was a really good return of form. I needed to hear that thing about the parents. I've been feeling very like, I've been wearing Superman right here, right on my chest lately. And I'm like, it's been helping me. It's been feeling better. I've been thinking about my dad. I've been thinking about that movie. It's these little things. And yeah, I'm going to Milwaukee this weekend. Kim's 40th birthday already happened. My best friend. She was there with me the entire time in Massachusetts, which was great. And it was really nice to go home for an entire week, because I haven't done that in a couple of years. I've been doing these little trips, 4-day weekends every like 3 months, and which I liked, but that long stretch, that was good. Like, I needed to be there for that time. And maybe my mom didn't send it to me on here. I want to be there to celebrate. So we're celebrating her 40th this weekend. And, so one of my dad's favorite movies was Ace Ventura, and I feel like I've been getting signs of Ace Ventura through the universe, because I always say, like, look for the Ace Ventura, look for look for the Ace Ventura, look for the signs. I went to this like comic book store, and I found this. Was like there, and I was like, well, obviously I have to buy this. And then I watched the show Hacks, and there was like 3 Ace Ventura references while I was watching it, and it like keeps coming up, and I'm like, has it always been coming up, or am I just getting, just noticing it more? Either way, I was like, of course my dad's gonna, maybe he's trying to say it's okay. I don't know. However you believe in that stuff, but of course you'd be doing it through the character that talks through his butt, because that's the Bob Clavin way. That man loved those movies. He loved Austin Powers. I'm keep like telling myself I'm going to start watching some of his favorite movies, and I just like, it's like I go to do it and I'm like, oh, I can't right now. I can't do this. So, I want to watch like, basically grew up watching, like, I think about it, it was his house where I watched the first Terminator for the first time. I watched pretty much anything with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it there. So like Total Recall. I want to watch, he loved that movie Major Pain. So I've got to get that. I've got the Austin Powers movies. I don't have Ace Ventura, so I have to get that. Kind of just always, he loved any of that stuff. So, I think that's a way to keep people with you too and stuff. And it's nice. I don't know. Movies, man. I think that's the thing about art. I'm going to show you a picture, and then I will, I think, call it a night. I'm sorry we didn't talk about more stuff, but I've got to get some stuff ready for work tomorrow. Oh, wait a minute. My mom sent me a video I hadn't seen. Okay, I swear to God, she sent me this picture. Good Lord. It might be saved in my phone. Built a little fairy garden for my mom. Of course he did. But I'd gotten this like little door to put on a tree, and then I'd gotten her like a dinosaur eating the gnomes because she doesn't like the gnomes. And like Kim and I like built her this like whole thing. So it comes out of the tree that's in her garden, and it's like a little driveway, and there's like little stuff in it. And I was like, oh, this was a lot of fun. So I think Kim wants to do that now too. Okay, it's not in here, so maybe. Can't you like search on your phone now? Search for little gay boy. Oh, it came up. No, just kidding. I thought maybe it'd come up if I searched Superman because I'm wearing a Superman sweatshirt, but I guess not. Sweater or t-shirt. I don't know, guys. Sorry, I thought I was going to be able to share this with you, but I guess not. You know what I've been trying to get better about because of the thing with my dad and not having a picture? Taking pictures with people when you're with them. Even if it feels like such a hassle sometimes, because we all know those people, and we can all be like, you can drag your feet and roll your eyes, but you'll have the picture at the end of it all. And you'll be thankful that you have it. So try to be better about that. My mom had given me a couple years ago her like old film camera, where she was like, oh, do you want this? Because I'm not going to use it. I try to always be very, very appreciative of things like that and thankful of that. And I finally was like, okay, there was like 4 photos left in it to take. So I took them, and now I've ordered new film. And I think like CVS still develops film. So I am going to be doing that. Trying to learn how to do film, film. Take pictures on film again. Hold on, here's the fairy garden I was talking about. See, we did it like, give a little tree, give him that little door, put the windows on there, middle of the front yard. So the dinosaur keeps it safe. Just like lately, I've been really enjoying the little things like that, Lord, I don't know. I'm not going to find this picture. I'm sorry. And now I'm bummed out that I can't find this picture because I feel like it was more than one person was sent to me. I'm going I'm gonna share 2 pictures of my dad that I really like. If you'll bear with me. I do have a Super 8 camera that I had gotten when I like graduated college, or like while I was in college, and I have like 3 cartridges of film for that. And I thought about doing that too, and maybe like using, because I'm like, well, what am I going to use it on? And I'm like, the dogs, I think. Man, I guess I just didn't save this photo and it did not transfer. What a bummer. I'll have to have my mom send it to me and I can share it next time. But I do want to just share these pictures of my dad with you. Hold on, I'm checking one more spot real quick. Jeez Louise. Oh wait, maybe my brother sent it to me. Oh, no, I don't think so. No. Oh, maybe it was my like sister. Anyway, this AirDrop just stopped working for some stupid reason, so I'm trying to, okay, AirDrop failed. Yep, because you're trash. You worked literally 1 second ago. Oh my God. Technology. I cannot stand it. Can't stand it. Okay, I'm checking this one thing, and then I will be signing off and saying farewell. There is apparently a picture of me, my dad, and Kim, and I've got to get my hands on it, that my dad had. Because I guess some pictures got dropped off, and then I didn't get to see them because there was a whole bunch of drama. Oh my God, I'm so fucking sorry. I don't mean to swear. Hold on, here we go. AirDrop failed, big surprise. Oh my God, good Lord. But it's very touching. Huh. To see that my dad had these photos. And I'm like, oh wow, that's really cool. Nope. Okay, well, here's a picture I've seen of my dad now when he's Lord Jesus, I swear to God. Technology is not on my side here. Sorry for anybody that made it this far. Here's one of my dad with this dog Nero, and I feel like this is my dad. Like, I feel like he's in the water. He loved the water. He loved to scuba dive. He loved to do this. He loved German Shepherds. He loved that dog. You know, I don't think there'll ever be a more dad picture than that one. And then I don't know. I really like this one too. These are all cropped because I was making them. These are I had posted them on Instagram, but I like seeing him smile. And the flashlight on his shoulder, I realized he had given to me and my brother. When we were kids, we had those flashlights, and we thought they were like the coolest things in the world. We thought they were so cool. All right, gang, I'm not going to be able to find this picture. I don't know why. Disappeared into the ether. 'Twas a nice thing. 'Twas a nice picture. I really don't know why. Who else would have sent it to me that wasn't my mother? That's why I'm like, I'm just checking one more look. Nah. Can't find it. Can't find it, everybody. Well, I'm sorry about that, but I do want to say thank you, everybody, for being here and listening to me. And I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry. I just feel like this was a very... I didn't want to lecture anybody on grief. I was just kind of catch you up on what was going on with me. So hopefully we can get back to our regular scheduled program. And then I'm sorry, I'm doing a lot of verbal pauses. I will be traveling this coming Monday, so we will not be doing a live stream next Monday, but I will hopefully do one next week to make up for that for all of you and myself, because I enjoy doing it as well. I hate the update for the iPhone. I'm sorry, I don't like to say hate, but I just hate the new way. I don't like to say hate, but I hate it. This stupid new way that the photos are organized and everything like that. It's so frustrating. It's like obnoxiously frustrating. But you're all amazing. Thank you for the kind words that I saw in here and stuff like that. And I'm happy I got to do this. I'm really happy I did do this, because it was kind of weighing on me for a little bit. Not like an obligation, but I was like, I've got to do it. I've got to talk to these people. These are my people, and I want to talk to them and just be like, hey, what's up and how's it going? And so I do really hope that you are all doing well, and just say thank you again and again and again for being here, and for being a part of this community. Hopefully we do some more fun, exciting stuff, some different stuff. I did think about maybe doing video of like the experience of like traveling again. I haven't done one of those in a while, but let me tell you, I'm flying on Southwest, and that thing is an anxiety attack. And now they charge you for bags, so it's not even like, well, it was worth it for the free bags. Girl, it's $35. Let me select my seat before you. Why did they start charging for bags before they let me select my seat? Trash. But I do just want to say thank you to everybody. You do really mean the world to me. I'm not good at it. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for loving me, like Linda Belcher says, and we'll see you soon. All right.